Joined by the writer, broadcaster and comedian Andrew Doyle. Welcome to you. First time on the show.
Yes, first time.
Fantastic. And the reason we're talking about it is that because he has a book out, which is very relevant at the moment, The End of Woke. A lot of people are writing about woke being over. And of course, woke being... Well, you think it's over, Mike. Why do you think it's over, Andrew?
You wish.
Andrew, why the end of woke?
Well, I think what's happened is there have been too many things happening recently, seismic events that have changed the nature of the discussion. We've had the Supreme Court ruling saying that sex in the Equality Act means biological sex. That therefore protects women's rights. We've had the Cass review, which has led to the banning of puberty blockers by the NHS, which is supported by the Labour government. We've had Trump's various executive orders saying that men can't be in women's prisons, men can't be in women's sports. We've had the rolling back of DEI initiatives and policies in major corporations like Facebook and Google and Amazon and Walmart. All of these things suggest to me...
And the army as well.
And the army, exactly. So all of these things that are happening suggest to me that the genie's kind of gone back in the bottle. It can't go back to what it was.
All right, the sort of market leader on all of this is Trump himself. And 9 days after he became president, you'll remember this, there was an air crash in Washington. Yeah. And I was shocked when he said this has been caused by diversity in air traffic control.
Well, this is why it's all such rubbish.
Well, let's just watch. This is Trump.
Rubbish.
I was looking for the key thing when he says woke is dead. Have a look at this.
Wokeness is trouble. Wokeness is bad. It's gone. It's gone. And we feel so much better for it, don't we? Don't we feel better?
That's it. Yasmin?
It's the takeover. It won't last, sorry. This is an age of white supremacy declared by Trump, which is why he made those stupid comments about genocide of white farmers in South Africa. And all
I hadn't thought it was about white supremacy, Andrew.
No,
it is entirely. Can I finish?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, can I finish?
Well,
it is about that. White men are claiming back the world. And this trans issue is at the heart of it. Trans issue is really difficult. And Lady Hale, who's a very important judge, has already said that the judgment is being misinterpreted.
So that's a very good example of what I talk about in the book, actually, because throughout the woke era, we've had people saying things that are factually wrong in positions of power. I mean, Yasmin mentions Lady Hale. Lady Hale said the other week, I've been speaking to doctors who say that biological sex doesn't exist. Well, by the way, I would advise no one to go to those doctors, because if you don't know that there are two sexes in the human race, then you shouldn't be a doctor. And that's a former president of the Supreme Court saying something that is just absolute and arrant nonsense. Now, the woke movement did destabilise this notion of truth and fiction. It made us obsessed with the idea of race, gender, sexual orientation. It divided us more than ever before. And the key thing about woke, I think, which is often forgotten, I know Yasmin has written about the political correctness era, which was a kind of messy negotiation towards a revision of a social contract. The woke era added authoritarianism. It said, we're going to bully you. It said,
rubbish.
Well, there's a thing called cancel culture.
This is rubbish.
There's a thing called cancel culture, Yasmin.
It's very interesting. This week, a lot of white men complained. Did you read this in the newspapers? We're not getting the jobs. We're being excluded from shortlists.
No, but that's true.
It's happening to us. And women, quite rightly, wrote columns saying, join the club.
But don't you think a meritocracy is a better system
the
than judging people on the basis of their skin colour?
It has never happened. I have been a journalist for 37 years, right?
Wouldn't that be the
No,
aspiration?
hang on. I've been a journalist for 37 years. I've won every award going. And I have been paid less than my white male colleagues all those years.
Well, that's something that you could resolve with a meritocratic system and a
liberal system. No, it isn't a meritocratic. There is no meritocratic system.
But don't you feel that? I mean, the point I'm making is that whereas we can have discussions about how to improve society, when you instigate a form of public shaming, cancel culture, which was the weapon of the woke, where they had people, their lives destroyed, their reputations destroyed, they would contact employers to get them fired, they would put pressure on big tech to have them censored. All sorts of women were kicked off Twitter simply for saying that sex is real and that women's rights depend.
Mike Perry, where are you? Where are you on this, Mike?
Well, just to pick up on Yasmin's point, there has definitely been a system in this country over the last decade where the middle-aged white man has been at a huge disadvantage because of the woke movement, including in the armed forces. We know we've got the evidence that in the armed forces there was a deliberate policy to try and exclude those men for people of ethnic diversity.
Yasmin, you say, well, actually, it's gone so far the other way, it needs pulling back. That's the point you're making, right?
No, I didn't say that.
So I'm trying to give...
about time, though.
It was
Go on,
about
yes,
time.
yeah.
You know, we cannot have the same cohort dominating politics, the arts, everything, because they happen to be a particular race and a particular gender. Hang on, and the trans issue is not as simple as you say. Trans people have been so victimized. Some of them are killing themselves because of the whole atmosphere that was created about let's hate trans. Okay, I do not.
Said that? I've not said let's
no.
hate trans.
The atmosphere has been appalling.
The trans thing, surely it must be quite a small part of this because there are so few.
Well, he based his
trans.
entire thing on the trans issue.
Yeah, but.
It is quite important, though, and it's very important for women's rights, and it's very important for gay
I'm a
rights.
woman, and I'm telling you, I don't believe it's very important for my rights.
Well, but you don't get to speak on behalf of all women.
No, but I'm telling you, you can't speak for me.
Do you think it's acceptable, then, for male rapists to be in women's prisons?
No, but most rapists are men.
Sorry?
Most rapists in the world are men. Not trans men.
What difference does it make? There's no evidence whatsoever that trans-identified males are any more or less of a risk to women than men who don't identify as trans. For safeguarding purposes, you keep men out of women's spaces.
Identify woke for me, just so we're clear, because we've had so many conversations on the programme. I've said, you know, woke is causing trouble, and someone says, well, woke is actually just about being a nice person.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the word has been through various evolutions. You know, it originates in African-American vernacular back in the 20th century. As early as the 1930s, there's a recording by Leadbelly called Scottsboro Boys, which talks about staying woke. You know,
I love Leadbelly.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Yeah. It developed throughout the 20th century. By the time you get to around 2015, because it did mean being alert to injustice, especially racism.
Yes.
If that's the case, I'm woke. Pretty much everyone's woke.
Oh, good.
But
Welcome to the club.
But that's not what it now means. And the reason for that is a cohort of activists around 2015 seized the word, hijacked it, and said, we're going to advance the notion of equity according to group identity, obsessed with group identity, and we're going to push it through authoritarian means. It was a very top-down, upper-middle-class movement. Look, it's a $9 billion industry, is the DEI industry. It's pushed by capitalists, it's pushed by
DNI
corporates.
is not woke. DNI is redress for historical injustices and power holding, which... Sorry, it's nothing to do with woke.
Let me hold up the book.
I'm
sure we'll come back to... Oh, God, that was a good question. That was dramatic. The end of woke. I want to say it in a Trump voice. Andrew Doyle, out today. Stay with us, Andrew. I don't think we're going to get far from this subject, actually, as long as both of you all firing up here. Trump appears to set Putin 2-week deadline on Ukraine. Let's just have a little bit of Trump where he's talked to reporters and he was answering questions here.
And do you still believe that Putin actually wants to end the war?
I can't tell you that, but I'll let you know in about 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, we're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out whether or not he's tapping us along or not. And if he is, we'll respond a little bit differently, but it'll take about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I can say this, that I'm very disappointed at what happened a couple of nights now where people were killed in the middle of what you would call a negotiation. I'm very disappointed by that.
It's very interesting, this. It's caught Trump, the idea that Putin, Mike, actually can't be believed, can't be trusted, will play him along, and Trump is genuinely shocked by it.
Did you see the Fiona Hill piece in the Telegraph at the weekend? Fiona Hill being the...
Theresa May's old person.
Well, no, not her. The American Fiona Hill. She's British.
Oh.
She's a Geordie, and she's been advisor to 3 American presidents on Russian affairs, OK? Yeah. She writes a huge piece in the Telegraph at the weekend, and she said Trump is terrified of Putin. He's terrified of him and admires him by equal measure, and that's what's made him unable to do anything. I mean, the thing with Trump is he wants to be one of the world's tough guys, and he doesn't really object to other guys in the world being tough guys because he wants to join a club of tough guys.
He doesn't want wars. We now learn that. He doesn't like the sight, turning on his TV and seeing people being killed.
But he's not doing enough to stop this one.
Right. And that's, Andrew, that's so interesting, isn't it, that he may be outplayed here.
Well, he's got one eye on his legacy, hasn't he? You know, this is his second term. He did say that he would be able to resolve the Ukraine-Russia war on day one.
On day one.
And so, of course, this is, I think, largely about his ego. You know, he will want to be able to resolve this so that he can say he's the one, he's the great hero who swung in and resolved everything. And, you know, maybe it's the case that his ego might be the thing that we need to propel to end the war. But it's going to be difficult because I don't think Putin at all is going to. I mean, I think Putin does want the war to end. Trump has been saying that Putin
does.
Well, I think he wants a way out that makes him look.
The way he
good.
wants the war to end is for Ukraine to concede everything to him.
He wants it to be demilitarized. He wants to take regions from Ukraine. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
But Putin has to be able to go back to his people and say, look, this wasn't all for nothing.
We've got something care about his people.
I know. Trump also wanted the Nobel.
I think that's right. He's a dictator. Yes.
Trump also wanted the Nobel Peace Prize, by the way. Literally said that because
we know
Obama got one after a week.
We're going to show. Well, I'll show you a clip in a moment of Trump getting angry in a question, and I'll explain this. This happened yesterday, and it was in relation to the separate thing, the tariffs, and the fact that the markets are bouncing back a bit in the States. And a report, which sounds like it could be good news, but a reporter said to him, "Have you heard Wall Street are talking about TACO?" TACO, and the TACO effect. And TACO stands for, the reporter, Trump says, what does TACO mean? TACO stands for Trump always chickens out. Because the tariffs, none of them have really happened. And so Wall Street are thinking we can get on with things as they were. Trump got so cross. Have we got the clip? Can we see this?
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
I kick out?
Chicken out.
Oh, and then I chicken out. I've never heard that. You mean because I reduced China from 145% that I set down to 100 and then down to another number?
So I was watching this answer and it just went on and on. He got angrier and angrier. And then he said, "You're a nasty person." You know, he hates that, doesn't he, Andrew?
He does, although he's much better than he was in the last term. In the last term, he got he was very quick to react. He got very angry very quickly. He's actually been far more measured than he ever used to be.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, like you say, he got angry about that because ultimately we know that his ego matters to him, and particularly when it comes to these tariffs. But also, of course, he's being thwarted at every step by various judicial aspects. Now, I'm not a constitutional expert, obviously, if it is the case that tariffs have to be set by Congress and can't be unilaterally done by the executive, then yes, something does have to be done about that. On the other hand, I should say, from a democratic perspective, you can't accuse Trump of not being very upfront about what he intended to do regarding tariffs during his election campaign. He is doing what the electorate voted for.
True. And so Sky News has this headline: US Trade Court blocks Donald Trump from imposing sweeping global tariffs, claiming he exceeded his authority. And at every turn, Yasmin, the courts, the judges are blocking him, aren't they?
Yeah, and thank God for a judiciary which is able to do that.
Well, he's had one arrested, by the way.
Because, yeah, I know, and he's not going to stop there. But, I mean, the Democrats, are they in a coma?
Yeah, they are.
What the hell are they doing?
They haven't got... Their system works. When you lose an election, you basically vanish. So they haven't got a leader. They're really low in the polls as well. And also they got this Biden thing. And Trump says he had stage 9 cancer. There's no such thing as stage 9. But now they're saying that his cancer must have been covered up in office. So they're constantly on the defensive.
Well, absolutely. There's a book coming out, isn't there, showing the extent to which the cover-up for Biden started within months of him becoming President of the United States. And at one stage, advisors not being able to get any sense out of him in internal meetings, and his wife, Jill Biden, having to interpret for him.
I have to say, Mike, I do think the media were in serious dereliction of
I totally agree with you.
Because,
the American media.
At the moment when Biden called upon the woman who had died, is she here?
Yes.
They should have said, can we see his medical records?
Yeah.
He's clearly suffering from some kind of problem.
Yeah.
It's not even fair on him, on a human level, to have someone who's
I
not
totally
capable
agree.
of doing the job.
And how can the President of the United States of America get terminal cancer, which hasn't been spotted for the previous 2 or 3 years? It's almost impossible. Reagan used to have a health check once a week because he was old and frail.
He had dementia in office and no one said that.
Exactly.
I think it's partly like... We've got a situation with the king. He has cancer. We don't know what the cancer is. Everyone holds off that. We don't need to push for an answer. Remember that Biden, the president, is their head of state. So there is a little bit of a space around him in the way that we've given the king space, and rightly so. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like shouting at the Prime Minister, what are you actually suffering from, mate? It's not like that.
But the decision-making...
But for him to have known what was going on and to have clung to office as long as he did, and therefore make it impossible to get a proper election of a proper democratic leader. Yeah. He really let the nation down.
Well, of course. And the book, by the way, we'll move on, but the book Mike referred to, I've just downloaded it to my phone, is called Original Sin, and it's all about the cover-up. Andrew in the Telegraph, 12th night, you're right back on the end of woke here. 12th night is going to be transformed by non-binary performers.
Yeah. So, look, the thing about Twelfth Night, it's a play by Shakespeare, obviously. It deals with themes of cross-dressing, a desire, misdirected desire. You know, you have a character, Olivia, who falls in love with a girl because she's dressed as a boy. You know, this kind of thing is going on. And so you can interpret Shakespeare in any way you want, and you can present it in any way you want, and any theatrical group is free to do it. I think my problem with this is what everyone is doing at the moment. Any Shakespeare production that you go and see at the moment is overly politicised for a specific ideological message, and it gets really, really banal. Now, it'd be fine if it was like 1 or 2 productions. Every single one is doing this. And so what happens is you go to the theatre and you feel like you're being lectured.
This is not true what you've said. The Royal Shakespeare Company I've seen 3 productions in the last year.
Yes.
And they were just traditional productions. So everyone is not changing Shakespeare and making it political.
It's a very fashionable thing. I'm sorry.
I think I saw, is she the one on the island? Is it Midsummer Night's Dream or...
Tempest.
Tempest, thank you. Yeah, I saw that at the Globe, and it was woke, actually, to be honest.
I mean, look, we had a Romeo and Juliet where they had a suicide hotline
above
the screen. You had Anthony and Cleopatra.
Suicide hotline?
Yeah, because they thought that Romeo and Juliet was just about sending a positive message about teenage depression. It's like the thing is, you can interpret Shakespeare through this woke lens, but the problem is you are reducing the abundance of his art to a very, very narrow thing. It's like, okay, let me give you an example. The Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, a couple of weeks ago, said they're going to decolonise his collection because they say that a lot of Shakespeare's work is racist and homophobic. Okay, I don't know how homophobic a man can be when he writes 126 love sonnets to another man, which Shakespeare did, which they seem to have forgotten. But nonetheless, if you just look at it through that lens, just through the lens of race, group identity, sexuality, then you are not seeing Shakespeare for what he is. It's boring. They're free to do it. I'm all for freedom and artistic freedom, but I'm not going to be going to see it, basically.
Moving on,
we've
Daily
had
Star
all-female Shakespeare productions. Brilliant.
Yeah, I saw one.
Absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
I saw one.
This narrow-minded, old-fashioned foginess in a man so young is quite sad.
I don't think it's funny.
Mike
It's
has
so
the story.
sad.
We've got to see
So
the roundabout.
sad.
Mike, can you describe what's happening on this roundabout? I know let's see the headline first, the Daily Star.
Yeah.
Driving folks around the bend.
That's right.
And then if you can help us here, this video will explain, but you need to commentate, what do you do as the driver here?
But the video's 3 minutes long, right? It's actually teaching you how to use this roundabout. Now, this roundabout's in Hemel Hempstead, isn't it? Wasn't it Swindon that originally invented crazy roundabouts?
Swindon has a thing called a magic roundabout.
That's right. And now it's spreading all over the place.
Isn't this good, though? Because it causes confusion among drivers,
Total
which makes them
confusion.
slow down.
Total confusion.
It's good, though, isn't it?
No, can't you see a bicycle going under that lorry that's just pulled off from the
Well, why is that
roundabout?
a cyclist's fault?
Because it's so confusing. You don't know what you're doing. Roads should go from A to B. They shouldn't go round in circles like that and then off in a tangent somewhere else.
Let me
It's
show you
crazy.
something. I've filmed the last couple of days. So this is. I mean, I'm hoping that I would, if I was cycling on that, by the way, I would be very wary of that red car.
Exactly.
To make she is stopping. On a very slightly different thing, I want you to look at this video, filmed last night and this morning by me. So this is a tank. That is not a car.
Why would somebody need a vehicle like this? It's like something out of the army.
Extraordinary.
It's just quite incredible.
I don't know what it is. I mean, I expected it to have a gun port on it. Now this morning, watch this guy, right? Different thing entirely. He's on a kind of a skateboard with a seat.
Strange.
So I want to ask you a question, right? You compare those two. Let's put them together here. The guy, which one of those is illegal, Yasmin? One of those is not.
Skateboard.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
It's stupid.
The one on the right is legal? It can't even fit in a parking space. You're going to defend that, Mike?
Well, what is illegal about it, if you don't mind me asking? Because there
It's
are many
ridiculously big.
Yeah, but there are many vehicles on the road much bigger than that. They might not be a car, but we have huge vehicles on the roads in Britain. I mean, did you work out exactly what it is. I mean,
honestly, I expected someone to pop up the front with a helmet on and some sort of night vision goggles.
Yes, but did you work out whether it's a car or whether it's a people carrier or whether it's a commercial vehicle? I mean, what is it?
What do you think, Andrew? Do you think I'm right to say this is nuts?
Well, I mean, the thing is, any car can kill someone. Any car is a potential lethal weapon. I don't think it really makes much of a difference how much armour plating it's got on it. It's still going to kill that individual. I mean, my worry about that roundabout, like you say, is, it might be the cyclist's right of way, but because it's confusing rules, they could still end up being crushed by a car.
Yeah.
It's no good saying in hospital, well, it was my right of way when you're on death's door.
Well, I kind of disagree. I think in hospital I will be saying it was my right of way, because I think in the end
it's a bit late then, though, wouldn't it?
Well, it's maybe a bit late, but I do think it's important.
Oh, please, live long. Live well.
Andrew, thank you so much for coming in and joining the little madhouse we have here. There is the book. Right on topic, isn't it? The End of Woke, Andrew Doyle. More after the break when Matt will join us. We'll discuss whether sausages should be banned from school lunches. And there's another woke one, isn't it? Are you protective, sorry Yasmin, of your favourite mug?
Is there anything that's not
It's
woke?
not woke. Okay, well, someone said that roundabout was woke and I managed to avoid that. See you very soon.